Uh, Hi, I'm Karthik, the co founder of Envision. It's an incredible honor to speak to you guys today. So, yeah, I'm the guy who's hosting today's Tech Talk, and I'll share with you what Envision's all about and the interesting work that we've been doing so far, and also some of the really cool stuff that we have coming up in the pipeline. So, sit back and let's get started. All right. So before we dive into anything else, just wanted to tell you what Envision is about for those of you who are not aware. So Envision is a mobile app which is currently available on iOS for visually impaired people. Envision can help a visually impaired person access all kinds of visual information around them. So, when you think about reading text or recognizing the color of your favorite t shirt or being able to recognize barcodes in a supermarket, recognizing faces of friends and family, and even, teaching Envision to recognize your favorite objects. All of that is something that Envision is doing right now. And before I really get started about Envision and go into the features, I want to share a little bit about the journey so far because we've come, I believe, quite a long way since we started back in 2017, and the journey is just as exciting as the product itself, right? So Envision began in 2017 on a nice sunny afternoon back in India. My co-founder Karthik Mahadevan was giving a career talk at a school for visually impaired kids, and he was talking about what it meant to be a designer, right? So he was telling kids that being a designer meant solving problems that you see around yourself. And towards the end of the talk, he asked kids, "What kind of problems do you want to solve? What kind of problems bother you? What do you see around yourself that you want to change?" And unanimously, the answer was independence. And that triggered Karthik to come back to Delft and talk to his professors about taking this up as his master's research thesis. And that's how it all began. From the very beginning, Envision has always been about improving independence for visually impaired people. Karthik Mahadevan, my co-founder, when he started doing research into this and talking to a lot of people, we realized early on that in many instances, increasing independence was giving people access to the right information around them, right? When you look at something like a cup, or when you look at something like a bus, it's not important that what you give them, that you tell people that it's a bus or a cup. What's more important is the information associated with it. Is it my favorite red cup, or is it the bus that I have to take to work? That's what we realized independence was all about. And this whole thesis, you can think of it in two parts, right? Both of which were happening more or less simultaneously. Uh, so one part about it was conducting user interviews, and the other part was prototyping based on the feedback that we got during those user interviews. We conducted extensive user interviews in the Netherlands. So because Karthik was doing his masters at the TU Delft in the Netherlands, we spoke to over 80 visually impaired people in the Netherlands alone. And apart from that, we had extensive interviews with people who work very closely with visually impaired people in organizations here in the Netherlands. And this was an iterative session. So what used to happen in many of these sessions was Karthik used to sit with a lot of visually impaired people. We would just keep spitballing ideas. We even had a session, a pretty fun session, where a lot of these people prototyped the kind of devices that they want to see with clay. A lot of people were making stuff, and then we took feedback from all of these, iterative sessions, and started building early versions of Envision. Now, this whole thing lasted for 6 months, just talking to users, just talking to people, observing them. There were times when Karthik used to just spend days on end with visually impaired people, just going to their houses, having a chat with them, going for long walks with them. That kind of stuff was what led us to come to this broad insight that independence was all about getting access to the right information, right? And we also got a lot of information on what kind of products are currently available for visually impaired people, what are the drawbacks, from two of the biggest organizations here in the Netherlands, Visio and Bartemius, because they have a lot of experience in coaching them, in training them, and rehabilitating them. So around this time is when I came into the picture, because at that time, so me and Karthik go way back to our undergrad back in India. So we know each other for almost 8 9 years now. And I was back in India working on things like AI and deep learning, and trying to see, how we could take the stuff that's happening in research and bring them out into the real world. So when we started talking during that vacation back in India that he was having, we started realizing that a lot of the problems that visually impaired people face could be solved by today's AI, because today's AI has actually come to a point where it's gotten much better than humans, right? It's able to recognize objects really well. Detections become really easy too. So it's improving a lot. And when we started talking about it, we realized that yes, there's an obvious connect here. We could definitely use AI to enable people with visual impairment. We also spent like a significant time in researching the latest trends, and it took a lot of effort to like separate the hype from the real deal. And that's when the second part of the whole the journey, the research thesis was there. So that's when we started working on early prototypes of Envision, right? And our aim from the beginning of the whole prototyping part was to make sure that this particular tool that we built can be used by as many visually impaired people as possible, across countries, across different levels. So they should be able to use it really well. And the unanimous way that we thought to do this was through a smartphone app, because everyone has a smartphone nowadays. An iPhone actually has come a long way in making apps more accessible to visually impaired people, and that was the no-brainer at that time. So with prototyping, we began to make really simple versions of the app. It just used to be a single screen with with a couple of buttons, and that was accessible through voiceover. And we started giving these the versions of the apps to people who we would meet. And this process, along with the user interview process, used to happen in parallel. So we used to have a user interview session, and then we'll come back from the session, and Karthik would have all of these really fresh, exciting insights we had. Then I'll go work on it. We'll come back again. So this used to happen over 6 8 months. And at the end of 6 months, end of the whole period, we had a very rough version of Envision that people just absolutely loved. And whoever we showed the app to, whoever whoever we handed out early versions of the beta to, absolutely loved it. They said, okay, you guys have made this stuff, and we really want to see this out into the world. Like, we want to go ahead and use the app. We want to have our friends use the app because it was that good. So that's when the idea of going ahead and having Envision as a product out in the real world came into the picture, right? And that's at that point onwards, we started like focusing a lot on making the iOS app a lot better, kept adding features to it. And almost 8 months later, we're here with an app that is one of the best in terms of its recognition capability, one of the best in terms of being being really fast, as well as extremely accurate. And the app itself currently works in English, Dutch, German, Brazilian, Portuguese, a couple of other languages, and we are going to go ahead and add more languages to it. But it can recognize 80 different languages. The text recognition can recognize 80 different languages. We can go ahead and translate the output, the captions, in as many languages as it is out there, and we have a very inclusive community across the world. So that's about the journey so far. That's the journey that we have had over the last year. Time flies, actually, thinking about it. Come this October 2018, it's going to be a year since we officially began Envision. So I'll give you guys a little bit of a deep dive into the app, give you an idea about all the features that we have, and then talk a little bit more about the development of it, what's coming up next, and things like that. So, uh, Envision has two main tabs basically. So when you open up the app, you see two main tabs. And yeah, before I get started with it, just a quick note: the app is fully compatible with VoiceOver. I'm not going to be using VoiceOver with the demos because I demo really badly with VoiceOver. I'm not a great user, so I would demo this without VoiceOver. But just know that the app is fully compatible with VoiceOver. Right. So the two main tabs here. One is the text tab, which has three different functions, and there's a general recognition tab uh, for all the other functions that are not related to text. Right. So with text, we've got instant text, handwritten text, and document text. Coming down to what instant text is all about. It's basically a function that people use to read short pieces of text, stuff that you see on a wall, like on a poster maybe, or in the train station. You want to read what's on the board, or you want to read what's on an electronic display, right? So you're trying to read your microwave oven timer, or you're trying to read what's on a screen. That's when you use instant text. And the best thing about instant text is it's fully offline now. At least for Latin based languages, it's fully offline, and it's super fast, super accurate, the best that it's out there so far, right? So just to give you a quick demo of it, I have with me the visiting card of my co-founder, also called Karthik. So it's funny, right? So both have the same name. I'm going to read out his business card to you, and let's see what. Yeah. So you just go ahead and tap on instant text, and yeah.
Envision enabling vision Karthik Mahadavan co-founder +31 6 51670827 Karthik at let'senvision.com www.let'senvision.com Milan Graf Sinjal 12 2629 JD.
Right, you can see that it's able to automatically, pick up things like phone numbers, email addresses, read it out to you in the right way, and it's super fast. The best part about it is also it can also recognize languages, so you don't have to explicitly tell that, hey, listen, Envision, you're looking at a French text or a German text or an Italian text. It's able to pick up the text, understand the language, and speak it out in that accent to you, right? So that's all with respect to instant text. We're adding a ton of features in the coming weeks. I'll give you a little brief about that once we go over the app. The next thing we have is handwritten text. So you guys get a lot of greeting cards. So be it your birthdays, your Christmas Eve, you get a lot of greeting cards, and also you probably want to read stuff like post-it notes. You have your grocery list stuck on your fridge. You probably want to read it quickly. We have handwritten text just for that. All you have to do is take a photo, and our handwriting recognition engine will go ahead and understand what it's there, speak it out to you. The only limitation that's there so far with handwritten text is it's only available in English, and the feature is still slightly experimental. We're working on improving it, but that's there for handwriting recognition. The next text recognition function we have is document text, and this is a heavyweight. So it does a lot of things really well. To just give you a little, brief about what it can do. Firstly, not only can it read single page documents, it can read multiple pages at once. So if you have a contract, you have a book even, right? It can go ahead and help you read all of that in a single go. And just like instant text, you also have language detection as part of the package itself, right? It can also detect edges for you. So if all you have to do is just go ahead and place the document and place Envision somewhere over the document, and it can go ahead and pick up the edges and take a photo automatically. It can also do column detection. So if you want to read newspaper articles, or if you want to read magazine articles, it'll automatically detect the columns for you, put it in the right way, so you can just read it the way it was meant to be. And finally, you can also export the text. So you can just go ahead and export it to different formats and things like that. So to give you a simple demo of it, I have with me a book, and I'm just trying to read the back of the book. So I'm just going to enable document text now. I'm just going to go ahead and wait for my edge detection to kick in.
All edges visible.
Processing.
Right. So you can see that the moment all edges were visible, it just went ahead and quickly snapped a photo. And this processing sound comes into play as soon as the photo is taken. And I can just go ahead and play this for me right now.
Most startups don't fail because they can't build a product. Most startups fail because they can't get traction. Building a successful company is hard. Smart entrepreneurs know that the key to success isn't the originality of your offering, the brilliance of.
And I can go ahead and export this, like I said, this piece of text in any format. And this particular page is also fully compatible with VoiceOver, so you can use your two-finger swipe to read the entire document, and automatically it will read out multiple pages over to you too, right? So that's it for text recognition. Another small feature that we have that quite a few of our users use is a magnification feature. So on the top of the screen, we have a magnification button that lets you magnify, that lets you zoom into, zoom into the frame in front of you. We also have an invert color option. So those of you who use invert color option, you could use that here to recognize text as well. The next tab that we have is a general recognition tab, and there are about 4 functions in this tab. We have scene description, we have the option to detect colors, we have an option to detect barcodes, and you can also teach Envision stuff, right? So I would dive right to the scene description stuff. So scene description goes ahead and tells you what it sees in front of you in natural language, right? So you take a photo, it says, hey, this is what I see in the photo. And apart from that, if you were to say, point at your watch or your window, it'll tell you the time and the weather respectively. It's a small fun feature that we included that is able to recognize the context of what it sees and gives you the information associated with it. Right. So what's really interesting about scene description is that it also does face recognition as part of the description itself. So if you have the person's face saved on your phone, and if it sees that person in the frame, it's going to go ahead and give you the description along with the person's name. So I have with me here one of my interns, Joanna, and I'm going to take a photo of her and see what Envision has to say.
Looks like Joanna's sitting at a table with a laptop and smiling at the camera.
Yep, spot on. Spot on. Right. So not only that, if you have any objects saved with Envision, it can also go ahead and tell you that, hey, it looks like your wallet or looks like your keys and stuff like that. A really interesting feature of the scene description stuff is saving the image with description itself. So a lot of people, take images and they have it captioned by our AI, but then they say, I want to save it with that description itself. So when I'm going ahead and use, looking at my camera roll with VoiceOver, I'll be able to identify what photo as I'm looking at. So we have an option to save the photo that you have taken with the description. You can then access that in your camera roll, right, on your device. So that's there. Another thing to note about both face recognition and scene description is all of the data is always stored on your phone. So at Envision, we're extremely privacy conscious. We know the responsibility that comes with building an app like this. So we go to great lengths to ensure that you are aware of what data you share with us, and personally identifiable information like if photos, all of that is just stored within the device itself and does not leave the device at any point, right? The next thing we have is color detection. So color detection is pretty simple. You just go ahead and point the phone at different objects around you, and it will go ahead and tell you what is the primary color that it sees within the object. This works on a video feed, so just take the phone around, keep pointing it, and it'll tell you what colors it sees. Coming down to the next really cool feature that we have is scanning barcodes. So oftentimes when you go to a supermarket or when you have similar looking stuff in your kitchen cabinet, you want to know what it is. Scanning barcodes can be really helpful. And we have to say we have a huge collection of barcodes, over 15 million products indexed by our app. So no matter in what country you live in, where you're from, our barcode recognition is able to pick up most products that you see around you. So with me, I have a Coke can that I just got from a vending machine here, right? Um, it's a Coca-Cola can. It's a small can, so I'm just gonna try the barcode recognition on it.
Coca-Cola 33 centiliters.
Right. So it went ahead and, like you can see, first detected the barcode. You could hear the little beep that was detecting the barcode from from the product itself. You can just go ahead and turn it around until you start hearing the beep. And the moment you hear the beep, just hold on, and it'll go ahead and snap a photo. Quickly, go ahead and parse the barcode and give you the output. You can also go ahead and get more information about the product itself. So we'll go ahead and redirect you to Google, and you can just go ahead and go over the product, more about the product itself, right? The next really cool feature that we have, and something that is very unique to Envision, is teaching Envision both faces and objects. So if you want to go ahead and have Envision recognize faces of your friends or family, you could go ahead and train Envision. All you have to do is take 5 images, give the name of the person, and the face has been trained. You could do something very similar for objects itself, and I think we're the only folks out there today who are helping you recognize custom objects. So let's say you have your keys or your wallet, and you want Envision to go ahead and recognize that. You could go ahead and take 5 images of it, and train Envision, give it a name, let Envision teach itself, and then you can go ahead and recognize your keys or your wallets that are around you, right? Cool. So that's it for the main two tabs of Envision. Another thing that I want to really highlight is our share sheet option. So let's say you have images or PDFs in other apps that you want to read that are otherwise inaccessible to you. You could go ahead and use Envision to read that. So all you have to do is go ahead and open up the app, pick the image that you want Envision to read, and choose Envision it. I'll go ahead and show you a simple example here. So I have with me an image that I got on WhatsApp. It's an image of Helen Keller with the text, "The only worst thing than being blind is having sight but no vision." So I'm just going to go ahead and share it. Click on the share button, and then I have Envision it. So if you don't see Envision it, you can just swipe right to the last part of the share sheet. Click on more and add Envision it to the list. And I'm just going to go ahead and Envision it. So as soon as I do that, it opens up a small app, and then it gives me both the description and the scene. So it says, "Looks like Helen Keller wearing a white shirt," and the text is, "The only thing worse than being blind is having sight but no vision," right? This works not only on images, but also works on PDF documents as well. So if you have documents that you get on your email, or if you have presentation slides emailed to you, you could just go ahead and easily open them up with Envision and read them also, right? Coming back to the app itself, the last tab that we have here is Help in Settings, and there are some couple of important things I want to talk about in this particular tab. The first really important feature that I wanted to share with you guys is something called Request a Call. So this feature allows you to go ahead and request a call from any member of the Envision team if you're facing any issues, or if you just want to generally have a word with us about the app itself. This is a feature that we really enjoy having within the app, because that lets us directly talk to you guys and get feedback from you. So if at all, during the whole usage of the app, you feel like, hey, I'm having an issue with this, I want to go ahead and talk to you guys about it, you can always go ahead and pick Request a Call, enter your phone number, and we'll give you a call back at the earliest. We also have an option to otherwise just give direct text feedback to us. That's also an option. In this particular tab, we also have the subscriptions options that we have. So Envision is an app that is free for the first 14 days. And post which, if you want to keep using the app uninterruptedly, we have different subscription plans available. So we have a monthly subscription plan that starts off at $5. We have a 6 month subscription plan. If you pick that, you get 20% off. So you pay around $24.99 for every 6 months. And if you pick the annual subscription, which is for $40, you get you save about 35% overall. Apart from all of these three, we have something called as an unlimited subscription, which is a one-time purchase that you make of the app and you could use it forever. So that is around $200. And as always, you can give us any feedback you have about the subscriptions, or you could give us a call, and be happy to explain more about this to you. Another interesting feature we have with the app is the referral program. So currently, if you have friends who use Envision's, who are paid subscribers of Envision, you could get a month free by entering their email address in the referral, in the referral page. So that's it for the app. These are all the key features of the app that I just showed you so far. Every single day we're working on developing new features. We are on a weekly update cycle, so there's going to be a new update hitting your phones every single week. We are extremely inspired by all the feedback that we've been getting so far from users across the world. So since our launch back in October 2017, since our beta launched in October 2017, we've had more than 20,000 installs across the world, and we've had hundreds of happy paying customers from everywhere. So from China, from Israel, from the US, the UK, who are really enjoying Envision, who are giving us a lot of feedback that is helping us to go ahead and push Envision to new heights each week. So for example, about 3 weeks ago, I spoke to one of our users from Australia, and he was talking to me about how he used Envision for the very first time in his life. He said, I was able to go ahead and help my sighted boss complete an installation of Windows on his PC. He's like, I used to be the one, who always needed the help. I used to be the one that people had to come and stop and help me out. But this is me going out and helping someone else who was sighted on my own terms. There was another user who spoke to us about a couple of weeks ago. He said that I used to watch a sitcom, and at the end of every episode, they used to finish the story by putting a slide of text there. And he's like, I never knew that there was text. I never knew what the text was, if there was no one else around me to tell me what it was. But for the very first time, I used Envision to read it all by myself. So I used to wait for the sitcom to get over and then turn on Envision, just point it at the phone screen, and it would read it out to me. So these are moments, these are things that make all the effort that we put in truly worth it. And we're really, really excited about some of the stuff that we have in our pipeline. So the first thing, and I would say probably the biggest thing, is that we are coming to Android, and we are coming soon to Android. So if you are an Android user and you want to use Envision, you want to give it a shot, go to our website, www.letsenvision.com. You can go, as soon as you go on the website, on the very first page, there is a button that says sign up for Android now. So go ahead, drop in your email ID. We're sending out limited betas in about 3 weeks time. So go ahead and reserve a spot in the line, and we'll go ahead and send you an email as soon as we have a beta ready for you. So that's one really big thing that's coming out in the next month. The next big thing that we're going to have is something that we've been working on for a while. It's a scan and find feature. So all the stuff that you train on Envision, say your faces, the objects that you train, you could go ahead and have it available to you in real time. So with this particular feature, all you'd have to do is hit a button, and if you have any objects trained on Envision, you could just scan the room around, and it will tell you where exactly that particular object is. So if you have a pair of keys on a table that you don't know where that you can't find, or you probably lost your coat in the room, it just goes ahead and tells you where you can find it. So that's another huge feature that we have. We've been working on it for a while now, and hopefully it's going to be out in the next couple of weeks. So this is about Envision in the app and all that stuff. Something that we're also really excited about, and we're working on very hard now, is bringing Envision to a wearable camera, or smart glasses, right? So we believe that having Envision on smart glasses can really, really improve the experience for all our users. So we are currently working on porting our software to this particular wearable camera. We're talking to a lot of hardware partners to see which one would work best for our users, and that's something that we're working on right now. We hope to have something out by 2019. So by end of the year, we're gonna have like a few prototypes, and you can expect us to hit the markets sometime around summer 2019, right? All right, so that's it from me. Before I leave, I would want you to go ahead and download the app. Strongly encourage you to do so. Just go to the iOS App Store, search for Envision AI, and please download it. We have a 14-day, no strings attached free trial. No need to enter your credit card information, none of that stuff. After this free trial, you can continue to use Envision for free, but you're limited to 10 actions a month. If you want to use Envision uninterruptedly, feel free to subscribe to one of our pocket-friendly plans that I just told you about a few minutes ago. And doing so also supports our development efforts. And once again, thank you for listening to me today. I hope you guys go out and download the app and give us feedback. And I can't wait to welcome you all into our wonderful community. Thank you. Have a great day. Ciao.